up, everyone? So, continuing the London Film Festival coverage, today's movie I'm discussing on the channel is the latest film from Cianfrance called Roofman, which tells the true life story of ex-military soldier Jeffrey Manchester, who's played in this film by Channing Tatum, who robbed 45 McDonald's by breaking in through the roof, which is how he earned his villainous name from the media, Roofman. But he's no ordinary criminal. He's a criminal with a conscience. Like, he knows what he's doing is wrong, but at least he's never violent with the victims in his crimes. In fact, he's very polite to them, and like when he locks them in the freezers in McDonald's, he'll make sure they've all got their coats so they don't get too cold. So yeah, he's a courteous criminal, kind of like Robert Redford's character in The Old Man and the Gun. That's another fantastic film, by the way, very underrated. If you like this film, you should definitely check that out. But yeah, eventually he does get busted and sent to prison, but one day he manages to break out of prison. His plan is to flee the country using his old army buddy Steve, who's played by Lakeith Stanfield, because he can hook him up with the documents that he needs to disappear forever. But after he breaks out of prison, he learns that Steve has been shipped off to Afghanistan for another 6 months, so until Steve gets back, Jeff has to find somewhere to hide, and he chooses to hide out in the shelving of this Toys R Us store until the heat dies down, at least, because he is a wanted man. And while he's hiding out in the store, he ends up falling for one of the Toys R Us employees, this single mum called Lee, played by Kirsten Dunst. And yeah, that's all the plot you need to know. I've been watching a lot of stuffy, heavy, and depressing films over the past 2 weeks. It feels like every film at the BFI Film Festival this year is either about grief or depression. I can't tell you how badly I needed a film like Roofman, you know, just a breezy, fun crowd pleaser where I could just sit back and relax and recharge my mental batteries. This film came at just the right time. Roofman is an absolute joyride. It is laugh out loud funny and charming. Channing Tatum is seriously good in this as Jeff, or John, which is his alias name when he's on the run. Like, even though he's playing a criminal, he's just so lovable and goofy. But there's also plenty of moments in this where Tatum brings out the emotional guns. Channing Tatum's one of those actors who I never really dug until I saw 21 Jump Street, then he kind of won me over, but I honestly think he has gotten better with age. Like, he has a role that definitely plays into his strengths as an actor because it is a very comedic performance, but there's plenty of moments in this where Channing Tatum has to bring a lot of dramatic weight to the scene, and he's more than up for the challenge. Like, there's multiple times in this where he's crying on cue, and that's impressive. Because he is kind of a goofball in real life, sometimes I forget what he is capable of, and he's really good in this, okay? Like, he gets to show off a bit of range here. There's not really a whole lot I can say about this film when it comes to, like, dissecting and analyzing it, because it's not really a deep film. It's just a fun watch. Like, it's a movie that was made with the purpose of entertaining a crowd, and it absolutely succeeds in that. Not every film needs to have some deep or profound message embedded in the subtext. Sometimes you just want to watch a fun story with your mates with a big bucket of popcorn, and this is very much that type of film. And it is a lot of fun watching Channing Tatum live out every kid's fantasy of living in a toy store. You've heard the expression kid in a candy store. Well, this film's plot could be summarized as big kid in a toy store. The very premise is a fun concept. And it's got a colourful cast of supporting characters. Kirsten Dunst was just lovely as the church-loving Lee, and Peter Dinklage is always fun when he gets to play a dick. He plays Lee's, like, twatty boss Mitch. Dinklage plays him with just the right amount of pettiness. And there's a bunch of familiar faces in smaller roles, but are all still good, like Ben Mendelsohn as Pastor Ron, Uzo Aduba, Juno Temple, and of course Lakeith Stanfield. This film is also very well paced, and the script is consistently funny throughout. And the film is also set in the early 2000s, and I just love the attention to detail in transporting us back to that particular period in time. And it's not like it's like shoved in our faces or like nostalgia baiting the audience. It's actually quite subtle, but you can see a big Blockbuster store in the background of one shot. PS2 games from my childhood, like The Simpsons Hit and Run, as well as flip phones and bangs, and of course wheelies. Who remembers wheelies? Kids, why walk when you can glide? God, they really need to bring back the wheelies. Oh yeah, it was a simpler time. Do I think I'll get any Oscar nominations? No, this isn't an Oscars movie, guys, and not every movie needs to be an Oscars movie. Do I have any negatives for Roofman? Well, I was thinking as I was watching this film, Jeff is the main character and he has 3 kids at the start of the film, and after he escapes from prison, the kids do kind of get forgotten about, which does feel weird because he's clearly a loving and devoted dad. But then I realized as I was writing my notes up after I came out of this film that course he can't see his kids, Luke, duh. Like, he kind of has to forget about them because he'll get busted. And it's not like he forgets his kids entirely. Like, there is one scene after he breaks out of the prison where he calls his old house and the daughter picks up and he just wants to hear her voice. And there are a lot of shots of him, like, looking at the photograph that he has of his 3 kids, you know, so he does obviously miss them. So yeah, I thought I did have an issue with this film, but then when I gave it some thought, it made a lot of sense to me, so yeah, don't really have any criticisms. I guess if I had to go looking for criticisms, I will say that the plot in this is very straightforward, but honestly, I don't mind a simple story just as long as it's well executed, and this film was just so funny and charming. Simplicity isn't a bad thing. In fact, people always tell me like the best stories or games are the most simple ones because it makes it accessible to more people, and this film is very accessible. Like, this is a film that you could watch with your parents, you could watch it with your mates, you could watch it on a date night. It really is a crowd pleaser. And yeah, while Roofman isn't a game changer or saying anything profound, it's not like it doesn't have anything to say. Like, it really does say something about how our actions and our choices are what make us who we are. And in that sense, having a protagonist be a criminal who's actually kind of a good guy does offer an interesting perspective on morality and our choices, because he's complicated, Jeff. But yet we're still kind of rooting for him, even though in the eyes of the law, he's not a good guy. So I do think the film has a little bit of substance. All right, then, let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, what was that? Firstly, would I watch it again? Absolutely. Like, Roofman was such a blast. I had a very pleasant time watching it. Channing Tatum is the best he's ever been. It's light and funny and surprisingly emotional in places, and it ended up being one of the biggest surprises of the LFF for me. I thought going into this film that it would be good, but I came out of it thinking it was great. So yeah, I'm definitely going to watch this film again, and yep, it's going to be on the wall at some point too. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Definitely. I think most people will have a good time with this film. If you love Richard Linklater's Hitman, then I think you're going to love this because it has a similar blend of comedy, romance, and crime, and they're both based on true stories. And as I was saying, it's a crowd pleaser, okay? It's one of those inoffensive films that you can watch with anybody, whether it's your mum, your mates, or your partner. So yeah, if you can watch this in a cinema, definitely go watch it in a cinema, okay? It's definitely a film best watched with other people. But if you are gonna wait to watch this movie at home, invite some friends over to watch it, okay? It's a great movie for you to all laugh along at. And third question, what score to give out of 10? I absolutely loved Roofman. I think it's one of the funniest films of 2025, and I think there's a chance it could even show up in my top 10 favorite movies of the year vid as well. Like, genuinely, I had so much fun watching this movie. So I'm gonna give Roofman a score of 9 out of 10. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on Roofman. Are you excited for this film? Have you seen it? If you have, what do you make of this movie? Do you think it's Channing Tatum's best performance? And that's a good question for you. What is Channing Tatum's best performance? Let me know in that comment section down below. If you guys have enjoyed the vid, do help me out with a little thumbs up button for us. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click that subscribe button for us. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.